Hi everybody, Jo here again. How are you doing? I hope you're keeping well. How are things going? Now, it's been a while since I catch up, but it's Tuesday, so time to come back. Have you got a nice brew? Cheeky biscuit? Are you sitting comfortably? In that case, I thought today I've had quite a few questions, emails and messages about stamping on the gel press. I did a sample quite a while ago for the television and had quite a few comments on it. So I thought, you know what? I try and listen, I try and make notes of what you ask for, and this was one of the things. So I thought today we'd do that. And this is the design I've come up with. And as you can see, the beautiful tree in the background is stamped on the gel press. And we've got a few new things we're adding here. We've got some lovely sparkly Posca pen, and these are just beautiful glitter and Posca. I mean, what can I say? And we're also going to be using on our gel press a little bit of our mysticals. So I thought we'd put a few things in here and have a good old play. As always, I've decorated my envelope just with my VersaFine Clair, permanent ink. You know, I don't want it smudging if it rains, and we get a lot of rain here, don't we? So I don't want the postman getting inky fingers. We save that for me. So that's what we're aiming at. But, well, you know me, who knows? Anything could happen. So I'm going to put that to one side over here. And I'm going to start, I've got some of this lovely 7x7 Lavinia multifarious card. I'm just moving a few things around as always. Do you know what? There's just never enough room on my desk. It disappears. So I must admit, what I've started doing is getting quite a few pieces of card and putting my black Sharpie line round so that they're ready for use. And I've got a little pocket now with my pieces of multifarious card all ready with this black Sharpie line round, just because then I can get playing. Obviously, you've seen me do this so many times before, you know I love it, so we don't need to show that because we're going to come straight in with our gel press. Now, I'm going to be using the Squarelee today, and this is lovely, made by Gel Press for Lavinia Stamps, lovely shape and size. And as always, a couple of things. I put mine on acrylic block. Two reasons. One, it's got a very good memory. I have to say, far better than me. And I'm worried if I put it on something uneven, it'll remember that. And I don't want to spoil it. But also for me, for this design, I can lift it and use it as a stamp. So a couple of reasons. And also, to be fair, when I'm sort of flicking things around, I do catch a little bit on the acrylic block, so it does save my workstation. You know me. Try and keep things as clean as possible. Not always easy, but I do try. The other thing with the gel press is do keep it in its plastic little container, because it just means you won't stand anything on it and ruin it. I'm going to come in with a couple of our Elements ink pads, olive and violet chalk, just for this type of effect I want. And I've got Billy Brayer, he's at the ready. Got some copier paper, so I'm going to bring that in. And I've also got my lovely Lavinia Mysticals, and this is Blue Moon. Now obviously this is a mica spray and the mica will settle. So I actually leave mine on its side like this, just because my mica distributes along the edge. And then when I shake it, it doesn't need a lot of mixing because it's got a larger surface area than if I stand it up and it rests at the bottom. Does that make sense? That's probably just the way my head works. Also, make sure I clean my nozzle after every use. But I just find for me it works better on its side. So that's there, ready, prepared. And I think we've got everything we need there. So we'll get Billy out. Come on, Billy. He's excited. He's coming out to play. Now, in my head, what I decided was with my design, if we go back, I wanted my little hair almost to be in, I love the sort of, you know, when you get heather on the moorland, certainly Scotland, Wales, we get a lot of that. Now, I know I've used the Lavender Stamp, but in my head, I just wanted that sort of effect. And I know you don't get green sky, but I just wanted it to look sort of a bit arty. And I just fancied the green and the purple together. So those of you who are telling me, you know, you've got a green sky, I'm going for an arty look today, and I'm sticking with that. But you know what? You can use, seriously, you can use any colours you wish. I just fancied these two blending well together. So I'm going to start with my olive, and in my own head, I think this is the top. So this is going to be the top of my design. So I'm just going to ink up Billy. And then I'm going to just bring probably about 2/3 of the way down. Again, I'm not going to overbray her because that will start to lift some of the ink off. In fact, I want it darker at the top. Slide my copy paper out the way. So I'm just going to come in at the top with it a little bit deeper. And then I'm just going to take that ink off on the copy paper. But if you've got spare card, you can make yourself another background. For the purposes of today, it's easier for me to just use copy paper. And to be honest, with doing workshops and things, I have so many spare backgrounds. But luckily, I've got a couple of lovely ladies who make cards for charity. So they're so good. I send them all my spare backgrounds, and they do use them for good use. So that's always useful. I'm going to turn my block round and just come in now at this base here where we haven't got any colour with the purple. Now I also just want to almost sneakily add some up the sides here, just to sort of, I'm thinking of that landscape. So once again, put my lid on and we'll just clean Billy a little. And then file him on the floor next to Eric. Now we're going to stamp, and we're using the small fairy fir tree. Now you can stamp directly at this point with no ink on your stamp and take the ink off onto your copy paper. And if you do that, you get this sort of ghosting image, which is beautiful in itself, but that's not what I'm looking for today. So I would just take that stamp. Do be mindful not to press too hard, otherwise you will get this edge, because after all, your gel press, as I say, has got a very good memory. It'll remember what you've done. But I think that is a lovely background and very different. And I'm thinking perfect for, I mean, I'm thinking of, I hate to keep saying the word Christmas, but I can see a Christmas design there. But today we're going to stamp on the gel press, and I'm coming on with my VersaFine Clair, my Monarch, and it's sort of a deeper purple because I want that sort of colour tone. And I'm actually going to stamp first, and you need a decent pressure, as I say, not too hard. And again, just going to clean it. Now you can see here, if we'd have put our Billy, cleaned him on a piece of card, we would instantly be able to make ourselves a twofer, wouldn't we? So that's something you can do. Just going to wipe this with my inky. So, and you can see where you're stamping. So I'm just thinking, I just want a bit of second and third generation. Yeah, I think we'll clean that, and that's what we'll go for. And then I just want to add a little bit of something in the sky here. So this is where my mysticals comes in, and I'm just going to shake that a little. But as I say, the mica with it settling at the bottom doesn't take much at all to shake in. I'm going to carefully undo it, not knock it over, and just with this end. Now I could put some in a little palette and use my fan brush, but I'm just going to use the end here and just flick a little. And I don't need too much, I just want to add a bit of something extra. So importantly, put the lid on. And I'm just going to, where I've got a few extra splats, we'll just give that a wipe. Keep it all nice and clean. And then I'm going to bring in my card. And at this point, I can turn this over, look, and decide exactly where I want to put my gel press. So I'm thinking that looks about middle to me. And what's lovely is you can see that landscape and those trees. And if I press it, where I press it, I'll just help to almost get everything. Look at the shapes you can get. It is magical. And again, I don't know about you. Can I zoom that in? Yeah. Oh, zoom it in and it's going out of shot. But look at that. I just think that is beautiful. So we'll give it a rub and then we'll pull our print. And look. Now, I've got to be honest, you wouldn't need to do an awful lot to that. You could actually have that as your finished piece. A lovely sentiment, you know. Art is a story waiting to be told. I think you could frame that. But we won't. We'll add some more stamping. But I'm hoping you love this. You know what I'm like. I get these things and I can't wait to show you. And I can't wait to see what you create. Well, let's turn that over. Give ourselves a clean piece of copy paper. Now, we're going to stamp, and I've got the small wild hare from the wild hare set. And I just thought, when I had my acetate, I just thought he went lovely over here. And this will dry very quickly. So I should be able to stamp on this now, no problem. And again, me being me, I've over-inked that. I get so excited when, you know, it's like the gel press. I just love the gel press. It's one of those things that him and Billy I never used to use. I just hadn't the confidence. And I think once you start playing and you get the confidence, I'm just going to be mindful to lean on my kitchen towel because I don't want to add a big mark. And I'm thinking, let's put him there. We've got this lovely white border. Let's try and keep it as white as we can. So let's give that ink time to soak in. Yeah, and he's stamped beautifully. Now at the top, I just want one of my lovely fairy charms just popping down. But I don't want the top bit to sort of peep off the top. So we'll use our copy paper. And this is where you have to just concentrate. So I need to be mindful to put that in. Because how many times have you done that? You've thought about doing it. Well, or is that just me? I think about doing it and then my mind goes on something else. And then I stamp and it goes right off and I think... Oh. So, just checking. I haven't got quite enough ink on the little bell at the end. There we go. So I'm thinking, shall we go here? Sort of in between the trees. Yeah, that's lovely. And again, it just for me gives, you know, just balances because we've got the black stamp in here, we've got the black stamp in there. And I do think when you're doing your cards, it's nice to think about the balance. And like I've said before, we could actually leave it like this, but I just want to help with perspective. I had a comment the other day from a lady saying, you know, what can we do to help with perspective? And to me, although this gel print is very earthy, it's very organic, I love the way it looks, I almost want to add a little bit more perspective. So if I add a little bit more stamping in the foreground here, it will push those trees further back and just add to that perspective. So this is where we're going to come in with the lavender stamp. And again, I want to be mindful not to stamp below that. And here we go, there's my lavender stamp. I did that thing of putting it on the block and putting it somewhere safe. And we're going to stamp, another thing to help with perspective, we're going to stamp in the monarch and the nocturne, the black. So when we've stamped in the purple, that will look as though it's at the foreground. And then I'll show you when we add a little bit of black, that then becomes the foreground and it will knock this into the further into the sort of mid-ground. And it's all things that we can do to help with perspective. So let's make sure that we've got that there. and just have a little look. Can you see? Now, I'm sorry, you know me, I have to stamp on the side. It's just the way my head works. And I think once you get into one of these routines and it's sort of something that you like doing, and if ever that happens, don't worry, we've just got some second generation stamping. It's not a problem at all. I do think sometimes these stamps and acrylic blocks can almost be alive. How often do they jump out of your hands? Or again, is that just me? Let's put that there. And I think we'll have one here, a nice tall. And again, I want to be mindful. I don't want to go outside my frame. So if I put the lid on that, and we'll clean the stamp. And then if I bring that to show you. So can you see, because we've now got this in the purple, the trees have just pushed further back. Now when we add a little bit of black to this, it will push the stamping we've just done into the midground, and the black will become our foreground. So although it's a flat piece of work, we want to just make it look like it has got different levels and perspective to it. And I don't want to overcook this. You know, when I say I don't want a pizza, I don't want to overdo it. Maybe see if we can have 3 of the black stamping. So again, take your time checking that's in the right place. And really, it's just to balance and add a little bit more black. So I'm thinking here where we've got a space, could have quite a tall one there. And I'm being mindful to alter the height as well. Then I'm thinking we need one, that'd be a nice shape if we had one in the foreground here. So maybe have one, again, let's alter the angle. Let's have one there. And then one more at this side. So I think there. And then what I'll do is lift that out. Yes, and to me, I've got that nice balance. Maybe just, no, I think it will overcook it if we add one there. I don't want to do that. If you're not sure, use your acetate. So I was wondering about one there, but I'm thinking if I add one there, I think it will just overdo it. So I'm not going to. Now, let's give that a blot. Again, your VersaFine Clair, slower drying ink. So always make sure you blot your work. Just that belt and braces thing. We don't want to make this lovely background and then spoil it, do we? So it is important. Just keep using your lovely techniques. So I think that's building up really nicely. So we'll get rid of that. And again, I've purposely left the frame plenty of space so we could add a sentiment. You know me, I like to just wait and see what I need my card for before adding my sentiment. Now, I'm just being mindful to move my gel press, because one thing I don't know about you, I have to be careful when I'm working. I put my blocks to one side and I don't want to actually stand them on my gel press. Don't know about you, I tend to mount things up. So we'll come in with our Van Gogh pencils. Now again, we just need, it's a couple of highlights with this, a couple of little extras. So I'm going to come in and add a little bit of shade under our hair, but I'm not going to use the black. I'm going to use the purple, the deep purple. I think it'll just add. And I'm just going to add a little bit under his body here. Don't know why I say a he, looks like a he. And just a little bit under the lavender, and it's just going to add to that sort of, just a little bit of depth, just ground everything. Now again, I can either smudge with my finger, or I can get out one of my biodegradable little cotton buds and I can just smudge that. Remember, 2 things, smudging it helps fix it, but also I just think it makes it look nicer, sort of takes away the straight edges. And we're not particularly adding shade under him, but I just want to make that a bit deep because I think it will look nicer. And I'm being mindful again to try and just keep it in our frame. So that's the purple. And we'll get our white. And we're just going to add a little bit on beautiful bell here. And again, I'm just going to smudge that with my finger and a little bit on his ears. I'm not adding a moon to this, but you could add your moon mask if you wanted. Let's give him a tail and just add a little bit of shape to his body, just so, again, I'm not overthinking it. I just want to almost give him a bit of character, a bit more 3D, sort of give him a bit more interest. Bit of a nip and tuck. Like I say, I'm not going to overthink that. But what I'm going to do is come in with my white gel pen, my Signo, and I'm just going to check. I always check on the back that it's working, because sometimes, there we go, it takes a minute to get them working. And I'm just going to add a little bit more white just on there, and then a highlight on his ears, his nose, and just the top of his tail. So I'm using the two. I'm using my chalk pastel pencils and my white pen, just sort of blending the two together. And then in with our new baby. Now, Posca pens, I love these. Glitter, sparkle, can't go wrong, can you? Again, Posca, need to shake them, activate it. But these are lovely. And I'm just going to add onto the lavender this nice glittery Posca. And I'm just actually doing it on the lavender heads. And again, when that dries, you'll just get, you probably won't be able to see that, but honestly, believe you me, when it dries, it's lovely Posca-ness, but with that bit of glitter. Beautiful. And I've also got some stickles, and this is the lavender. Now, I don't know about you, but I've mentioned this before. Stickles, it's a bit rude. Now, I'm going to whisper because I don't like saying it out loud. It has wind. And if ever you've put stickles on your work and pressed it straight away, sometimes it goes or a noise similar because it has wind. So I've got to be honest, for me, I always put it, see, did you hear that? It went, so I'm going to add it to my mat. And then what I've got is I've got an old brush pen here, which I use for my stickles. And what I'm going to do is paint it on with just, you could use a water brush. This is just an old water brush, as I say, that I use for my stickles, because I just want to get it all round the base here and give a nice shimmer. And what I find is by painting it on, a couple of things. One, I don't get the wind. It won't spit at my work. Let's add a little bit to the trees. Two, I can decide exactly where I want it. I can just paint it on. I actually add less, so my stickles, because I'm a bit thrifty, will last longer, but also it will dry quicker. So for me, it's just a win-win-win scenario. Just add a little bit more at the base here. But the lavender colour, just thought, goes beautifully. Oh, see, even the lid's alive today. And we'll just clean that off my mat. Again, then I won't put my hand in it. So I have to say, I don't know about you, but I think that's just built up beautiful. And again, I don't want to add too much because I don't want to take away from our beautiful background. Now, the last little thing on my original, your Posca, okay, fabulous. They've got the glitter in, but you know what? You can still splat with them. So a good shake. Now, you can tap them if you want. So again, if you want to get your brush, give it a tap and get nice fine little splats like that. Or if you're like me and you just want to give it a good shake to get some nice big splats, then you can give it a good shake. But one thing I will do is just wipe up any rogue little splats that are on my mat. Mr. Inky Binky can do his job. So there we go, and when they dry, they just dry beautifully. Now it might be you like your frame completely crisp and clean, in which case that's perfect. That's your design. So if I bring my original one in and just open the card up like I do, and try and get it in shot. Like I say, one day I'm going to get a cameraman and he can come and help me. So if you know of any going spare. So the only difference is I added a nice little lavender bow here, just above the hanging bell. And I think you've got two lovely designs there. So I'm hoping you try that. And don't forget, I'll just bring in again the difference. The ghost in one where you get the white image, and the only difference there is you didn't add ink to your stamp, but clean your stamp in between each time you pop it on your gel press. And this one we stamped in the monarch. No, we didn't. We stamped in the, yes, we did, the monarch, the purple. But again, any of your VersaFine Clair colours. But have some fun. Do some experimenting, please. And share with each other. Because we do love it. On our groups, when we share, we've got such a lovely family on here. Such a lovely community. It's so lovely how we all help and inspire each other. And we've got some lovely new followers, so thank you for subscribing. It's so wonderful when you subscribe. I do appreciate it, and your lovely comments. So you take care. I hope you have a good week. Here we're going to spring into summer. So I know our friends down under, you're heading the other way, aren't you? So I hope your weather's okay at the minute. And I hope you're feeling well. And I hope we've kicked that nasty COVID into touch and we can all get some time together and enjoy being together. So you take care. Much love and hugs from me. Bye for now.